Hello everyone, you are all welcome to lecture number 664, and today's topic is the importance of experimental research in chemistry. Actually, this segment of my lecture is for those chemists who are involved in either Ph.D. work or M.Sc work, that is postgraduate work, or even the undergraduate students who are doing some research work in order to support their research project. And not only that, in general, once you are aiming or your object is to go for research, you have to follow all these principles. One by one I will be discussing, and the same formatting, like how to write the topic, introduction, what is the meaning of scientific research, what is the difference in the layman's and the educated chemist's difference in research, then methodology, experimentation, references, critical review. All these are very, very important, including the selection of supervisor, your mentor. So first, let me come to this point, the research. When we are talking of research in chemistry, one is layman's research. Layman's research means he doesn't have any university education background like degree or M.Sc or any other qualification. He is just he can be in villages, he can be in the town, and just by chance, by hit and trial, by his experience, he can find out some new thing. For example, our photochemistry research came when the people were doing research and they left their reaction mixture around the window, and when sunlight started falling on it, reaction started. So it was by chance, and they found that there are some reactions in chemistry which requires the presence of sunlight, and from that day onward, the new branch of chemistry came, that is called photochemistry. So in this way, lot of researches are there, and the scientific research means, experimentation means, you have to do the experiment, very specific scientific knowledge should be there. You have to create the data, you have to analyze the data, you have to compute it, and you have to quantify it. For example, if we are saying somebody is having temperature, so by touching his body will be hot. It is not quantified. It is layman's finding that yeah, it is hot. But chemically speaking, scientifically speaking, it is measured, it is quantified. That no, he is having a specific temperature, and that is 101, 102, 103 degrees Fahrenheit. Then it is quantified. So in the case of research, everything we have to do the experimentation. On the basis of experiment, we have to go for observation. In chemistry, what are the reactants, what are the product, what percentage of product you have got, what you were expecting, all analytical data should be created. And if it is organic chemistry, once you are doing synthesis or you are isolating the compound from natural resources, so one by one you have to generate the data. Then you have to use the spectral studies, NMR, IR, UV, and on the basis of those findings, those spectral data, you have to conclude the known or unknown structure of the compounds. That is your scientific. So the experimental research in chemistry will allow you to grow mentally. Mentally to grow means you will understand how to design the experiment, you will understand how to use all the experimentation, all the instrumentation in the lab, glass apparatus, IR, UV, NMR. That will improve your skill. And in chemistry, unless you have experimental background, unless you have experimental skill, you are incomplete. Then, when we are coming to chemistry research, again it is divided into two. One is called applied research. Other one is called, that is pure chemistry research. Applied and pure. Applied means the knowledge of skill and experimentation in the industries, like in food industry. If chemist is working, he can improve the taste, he can improve the quality, he can improve the type of fermentation, beverages, and with that the industries are going to get lot of money. Once it is money oriented, money related, it is applied research. It is in industries. The pure research in chemistry means all the experimentation, all the research work is done in the lab, in the research lab, where scholars, postgraduate scholars, they are working and they are identifying the compound, or new findings are coming. And these new findings are published in international refereed journal, reputed journal. And the scientist's reputation, prestige and honor is determined by his quality of research papers. Once your research work is not published in standard, good quality journals, you are not reputed. So in scientific community, your research work is recognized by its publication in good journal, and on the basis of that, you will gain lot of respect and honor in scientific community. And one more thing, research work means it is a teamwork. So you will be exposed to work with 2-3 people, including your supervisor. And as a teamwork, you will learn a lot of things, even the tolerance, even how to behave to your supervisor. Even I will tell in the next lecture how to select your supervisor and how to keep good relation with your mentor, with your supervisor, with your colleagues. That is also very important. And this research means we are doing, we call it, once we are saying degree. Degree means it is graduation. Graduated, it came from graduated tube. Just like in lab. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, higher and higher. So that graduation is going on for chemist. Undergraduate, postgraduate. Post-graduation means your M.Sc and Ph.D. research work is postgraduate. Means your reasoning and thinking will be deep. Your knowledge will be deep. And your emotion is not going to supersede your reasoning and thinking. That is the meaning of post-graduation. For example, if any problem is given to a layman who is totally uneducated, so his reasoning and thinking, his analytical mind will be of very low standard, low thinking. But the same problem, same objective is given to a postgraduate, to a PhD scholar. Definitely his approach will be analytical, will be critical, will be creative. So that is the meaning of higher education and research in chemistry. Then next one is, we laymen, those who are not scientists, their finding and research are very much linked with their faith and religion. Sorry to say, if you go globally, and if it is not experimental science, lot of faith and religious manipulation and belief is there. That is not accepted here. It will clarify, it will give sharp line of demarcation in faith, in religion, and in experimental data. We are not going by faith. For example, I used to say, it is my personal view as a chemist, there is astrology and astronomy. I say astrology is fraud. Sorry to say, some people might be feeling offended, but this is my personal, on the basis of my personal experience, my personal view. Astrology is a scientific fraud. Why I say fraud? Anything which is not quantified, scientifically it is fraud. For example, astrologers, they will predict your future on the basis of star, on the basis of moon, on the basis of galaxies. That after 20 years you will be this, after 10 years you will be rich, after 15 years you will be beggar. What rubbish! There's nothing like experimentation and anything calculated. Nothing is quantified. It's just probability. Only probability. And hypothesis and theoretical. It may look very much artistic. But we don't want anything artistic here. We want experimental proof. So, second one is astronomy. Yeah, astronomy is science. And the definition of science is very simple. It's the systematic study of nature with relation to energy change. It is systematic study on the basis of experimentation, on the basis of all those data collection, on the basis of quantification. Everything should be quantified, should be calculated, statistical data should be there. That is scientific experimentation, and chemistry doesn't allow chemistry research to mix up with faith and religion. Is separate. So this chemistry research will allow you to understand science on the basis of experimentation, not on the basis of probability and fraud. Nowadays, lot of products are there in pharmaceutical industries, in India, in Nigeria, in many parts of the world, and people are taking not because of its experimentation, because of its faith, that no, it is prepared by this gentleman, and he is a very big spiritual leader. So whatever he is preparing, there is a spiritual spirit. There is no room for such type of thing. And people are buying. They are believing. Placebo effect. So believing, placebo effect, faith and religion. I am not an atheist, I am practicing Muslim, but it is separate. Don't mix up with this. So these are all informations. These are all knowledge we scientists will get when we are going for research, experimentation in chemistry. So what I have already discussed, the same concept and idea I have already given in writing point wise. So here number 1 point is research helps you to grow as a person. I mean, as a scientist, as a chemist, this research provides you platform and opportunity to grow as a person. Your status, your education, your experimental knowledge itself will determine your status in scientific community. A person known as scientist or chemist. You will learn to be objective. You will learn to identify scientific problems in chemistry. Number 2, you will learn to design experiment. Once you are exposed in the chemistry lab, you will develop your personal skill to design your own experiments. And once you are skilled, sometimes you can design the creative experiment for some new findings. So your research work in chemistry will provide the platform to grow experimentally. Also, methodology and to generate and handle large volume of experimental data. That's why in research lab when we are working, especially in chemistry, we are maintaining diary every day. When I was doing my Ph.D. work, when I will enter in the lab, first I will put the date on my diary. That today is, for example, 30th of August 2020. Time 8 a.m. I entered in the lab, and what I started, that is phytochemical testing of Acacia arabica. So that means that I am doing that work on 30th of August. When next day I am going for other testing, other research work again. So date wise, all large volume is there in the diary. Why we are maintaining that every day experimentation, to know that on which particular day what type of experimentation was done. So this is very important for all research students, whether they are writing research project or M.Sc dissertation or Ph.D thesis. They should maintain diary of experimentation every day to generate, because large volume you are generating data, and that should be written to long volume of experimental data, analytical data, and make logical conclusions on the basis of those data. We are going to make logical conclusion. We will be conclusive. Once we are all missing every day, we have worked for a whole year, and once we don't have our computer, our memory is not that much strong that every day's experiment you will remember. So it will be generating all this data and conclusions and resulting in publishing research papers. Finally, once all the data are concluded, your result is there, then get ready for publishing in a reputed refereed journal. And your publication is going to determine your status as a scientist or chemist. Number 3, research will not tell you how critical review different from negative criticism. Actually, this research will not tell you the critical review, what different from negative criticism, but to bind on this research will show you the way to self-improvement and enhance your self-confidence and self-esteem. I mean, your research papers, sometimes it can be challenged, because in phytochemistry, what research was done without the support of spectral studies like NMR, IR, UV, in 90s and 2000, our papers are challenged. What they established their structure on the basis of oxidative degradation, research and synthesis. Here, when we are using 800 or 900 megahertz, 3-dimensional frequency, they are showing 2, 3, 4 mixtures. So sometimes your papers, your research work can be challenged. It can be criticized, but it doesn't mean that you have not done the work. Sometimes you are not getting anything, but that is also a research. So that is, the opportunity for researchers to be criticized and to be negative. Number 4, research where you will discover new findings, learning to understand and justifying your curiosity, and you will be able to distinguish between faith and science. I am practicing Muslim, but when the question of science comes, I go by experiment. I go by analytical data. I go by quantification of data, not by faith. Religion is different and experimentation, science is different. And I have already told you in detail my view. And science, number 5. Most importantly, critical decisions must be experimental. Whatever your decision, it must be experimental. It must be supported by experiment, whether it is negative or positive. Without experiment, it is all artistic. It may be very beautiful, but not as a science. It may be as an artist. You are still not scientist without experiment in chemistry. You are only a scientist. You are only an artist. It may look a very beautiful art, but not on the basis of experimentation. So your critical decisions must be experimental based, not relying on belief, opinion, and religious faith. Sometimes people interfere. Just like nowadays, I used to say, For coronavirus vaccine, globally, I used to call there are two types of vaccine. One is global political vaccine, otherwise one is experimental vaccine. There are many people. They are giving their opinion. They don't understand. They cannot define what is stereochemistry of protein virus, and they are delivering 1 hour, 2 hour lecture. So that is opinion. Please, science doesn't allow any theoretical opinion unless it is supported by experiment, supported by analysis, supported by quantification. But globally there are hundreds of opinions, and it is entertained because somebody is politically heavyweight, somebody is very much influential because of money power, and I have already told you this planet is ruled by only 3 powers. One power is fire power, that is missile. Second power is money power, and third is very weak, that is what we call scientist intellectual power. So opinion has no meaning in chemistry and scientific research, and also faith and also religion. So number mental base and not relying on belief, opinion and religious faith. Conducting research and translating into research thesis promotes deep thinking. That is what I am saying. If somebody has done Ph.D, Doctor of Philosophy, it means he has very deep thinking. He has been super graduated to highest level, makes man of high status in terms of experimentation, in terms of science. So that gives you, and you are expected to have very deep thinking, analytical thinking, scientific thinking. That is, the meaning of research. And translating into research thesis and promotes deep thinking and imports scientific skills. And important scientific skill it will provide you. To work in team, your participation will improve your team spirit. Research work is teamwork with supervisor, with your colleagues. So you will be having team spirit. And without team, for example, if any research paper is coming, once it is single author, to me personally, I will say it is cooked. It is manipulated. How a single man can be a chemist, can be a pharmacologist, can be a pharmacognosist, and can be a bacteriologist? No. It is a teamwork with multidisciplinary. So, co-author, multi-author is the best paper. It means teamwork. 4 or 5 people, they generated the data. Data is not cooked. So the single author paper is always questionable about its authenticity. Number 6, research and writing thesis assignment is an opportunity to work in team, and your participation will improve your team spirit. Number 7, during research, you will experience the advantage of one-to-one mentoring by your supervisor. This is very important part, and I am going to discuss one lecture only on PhD scholar and supervisor relation. That is very important. Sometimes supervisor is very fast, students is very slow. Sometimes students is very fast, supervisor is very slow. So it is a mismatching. So how to address that mismatching? That I am going to discuss in the next, maybe in coming lectures. And your relationship to your supervisor. Relationship is very important with your supervisor, with your mentor. Even if your supervisor is committing lot of mistakes you are knowing, no need to point out. No need to criticize him. Just ignore. Tolerance, patience is very important. Otherwise you are going to lose. And then number 8 is publishing your research paper. Once your research work is done, then unless it is published, you are nowhere. So it must be published in a reputed journal, a refereed journal, where your papers are abstracted in every library globally. Whether you are going to France, whether you are going to UK, whether you are going to India, everywhere online, your abstract is appearing. So this is what I have already told you, and now I am going to deliver a lot of lectures on how to select your topic, how to go for objective and aims, methodology, experimentation, all whatever the problems we are going to face, I am going to discuss one by one. So these lectures I will continue are for postgraduate, M.Sc and Ph.D. students, and also undergraduate research project students are also included. So with this I will stop. Thank you very much for watching the lecture.